Well, a couple things. First of all, when I came from California, out there it looked like money and fame is what drove elections. And I was a guy with ideas and a hard work ethic and could make my case out here, where out there, you wouldn't have a chance. You had to be able to basically buy the election. And out here, you could be a person, ideas, hard work, make your case to the delegates, and let them give you a shot. My first race that I won, I spent a few $1,000s and stuff. And so it was something that was manageable for just about any person to be able to run that kind of election. I know some that have run elections on as cheap as a few $100s. It takes a lot of work. You got to go out and meet with the delegates, and you got to make the case to them and stuff like that. So it takes a lot more work than money. But for a very reasonable amount of money, you can make a credible campaign. Out there, my perception is it was hundreds of thousands of dollars for a race, and you get into the big ones and it's millions and tens of millions of dollars type of issue. Well, one of the things, running a convention battle is very different than running a primary. And you can see running a primary, you can basically do some glossy TV ads, radio ads, some slick flyers that you mail out to folks, and you never actually really have to appear in front of somebody. And with the convention process, you got to pound the doors. You got to go meet with the delegates. They really hold you accountable. They want to know what you stand for, what you're going to do, what you've done in the past, and you can't mail it in, if you will. You have to really work and explain why you did things, and they want to hold you accountable for various votes and various issues, and looking forward to what you're going to do. There's no such thing as a perfect nominating process, and so ultimately the proof is in the pudding. You want to look and see what nominating process helps deliver candidates that become elected officials that really, in this case, run the state well. And so you look at that final outcome and say, okay, what process is going to help improve that outcome? If we're wanting to do a system that's more like California, I would suggest there's various reasons why California is not the best run state in the nation. Definitely in terms of being connected with your constituents, being held accountable to your constituents, you had to appear. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're running a little, state house race, or for me, a statewide race. I mean, I'm regularly in counties all across the state, meeting with delegates, meeting with constituents, meeting with folks in those communities, explaining what we do, and in my case now, in the auditor's office, and why it matters to them. So from my perspective, when you have the caucus meetings and lots of folks show up, you get a whole mix of different folks with a mix of different views. And so you get some that are quite moderate Republicans, some that are quite conservative, some that care more about fiscal issues, some that care more about social issues. You get a whole broad mix of different types of delegates participating in the caucus. And they spend hours and hours and hours going to meetings, listening to debates, listening to candidate presentations, asking them questions, going to open houses and so forth on behalf of their neighbors and their friends. One of my concerns is you will weaken the accountability of elected officials to their constituents. It's really easy to just be in, let's say, Salt Lake City and just mail it in. You just get some folks to produce some glossy campaign materials, and you can avoid going on the circuit. You avoid going out there to meet with folks. In my case, on a statewide race, you can focus on Salt Lake County and really skip the rest of the state. Well, they wouldn't just be turned into flyover communities, they'd probably be turned into skip communities, because you generally wouldn't need the votes. Where right now today, they want to hold you accountable. They want you out in their community. They want to know what you're doing for them, why you're doing it. They want to make sure either you're accounting for your activities to the delegates, or they're even inviting you to town hall meetings with folks in the community, so you can account for what's going on in your different activities, whether that's governor, state auditor, state legislator, and so forth. In Utah, we do have a unique process, and this caucus convention process allows communities to come together every other year to talk about the platforms of whatever party they're a member of, what's important to them, electing folks who can spend time to really vet candidates, okay? And some clearly do a better job of that than others. But you look at the amount of time that I've seen folks going to town hall meetings, going to debates, question candidates on their positions on various issues, and then you compare that to some of the dynamics in a primary where it's just a little bit of information here, pretty picture there, boom, somebody votes without really knowing, hoping that they're making a good decision. And there's kind of a significant difference between holding the candidate's feet to the fire on the one and just being wowed by some glossy material. I believe political parties should be free to choose their nominating process, should be free to associate however they choose without interference from the state.